I'm sick, so I'm just apologizing right off the bat. Wicked is a movie that I had very low expectations for. I mean, when you have Ariana Grande, cheat on like her husband or something with SpongeBob, that's not a great start. Yeah, if you followed Cynthia Erivo, you know that she had like a huge blowout on one of the fans. And then on top of that, numerous delays. Like I thought this movie was supposed to come out a year ago. I didn't see much marketing for it. I don't know. This movie's crazy. And it didn't disappoint. It was actually kind of good. John Chu does a pretty good job with this film. Um, and unlike other bad critics, I'm being ironic, Schifferless, please. I don't hate you. Just want to set that straight. I think the direction here is actually really good. So, if you don't know, Wicked is a film about is basically a film adaptation of the musical Wicked, which Wicked is basically the like Wizard of Oz before the Wizard of Oz. You know, it just like took place before we saw the Wizard of Oz part. But it's like if you've seen Oz the Great and Powerful, it's before that, or it's after that, but it's before we see Dorothy. Follows the Wicked Witch of the West? Even I get confused. If you've seen the musical, you know the songs are banging. I mean, most musicals you watch are pretty fun and like wow, and you know that's Wicked for you. It's very standard of like very standard musical that has lots of popularity for a reason and is like hasn't it won Tonys? It's probably won Tonys. I don't really go into this thinking about the history of stuff, but basically it's a Wizard of Oz musical before the Wizard of Oz, and it's about the witch. It's still going. It's been 8 years since I saw it, and for the third time. And that just shows you how good and strong of a musical it is. Obviously, the movie needs to be good as well. But as is with a lot of musical to movie adaptations, they don't have a very good reputation. Dear Evan Hansen was dog water. It was dog shit. That was quite possibly one of the worst things I've ever seen. In the Heights was good, but it missed the mark because you took out like half the story. It took out literally half the story. Hairspray, it's good, but not all the actors could sing. West Side Story, I was not a fan of. I'm not going to talk about it. Uh, I really didn't like that one for some reason. Into the Woods and Hamilton doesn't count. It was just like a pro shot of the stage musical, so it really didn't do anything. Les Mis, poor guy couldn't sing. Russell Crowe. So, you know, they have a bad reputation, and this Wicked needed to be good because Wicked's a beloved musical, and truly, it's probably the only one you can't fuck up. That's for film. And there you go. They didn't fuck up. They actually did a good job. It's kind of shocking how much better they did than my expectations. My expectations were like, it'll be all right. Truly, when you hear movie to musical adaptations and you like, it's 2024 and you hear Wicked, you're like, oh. And yeah, this is probably one of the best musical to film adaptations of all time. No, but it's pretty good. Every aspect in this film is like actually cared about, and the things they take from the musical they adapt really well to the screen. So the environments are creative, the costumes are good, the design of basically everything is really well done, and the like visual effects, the practical effects, a lot of it is done just tremendously well. And it's hard to see, like, not even just how they did it, but why they haven't done this for other musicals in the past. It takes its liberties. It takes, honestly, some risky choices in a sense, like, but that make for good interpretation. So, like, one of the biggest complaints I saw was that the coloring of the film is bad. And it's like that's kind of the point, because you're seeing the opposite perspective. So you're not seeing the like childlike wonder of Dorothy looking and being like, "Wow, this is great." No, you're seeing like you're not seeing her childhood wonder. You're seeing it from a different perspective, and so it makes sense that the coloring and everything is less saturated, less over the top. And when I saw it in the theater, I really didn't think that much of it. It did not affect me personally. It made other movie musicals just look bad, truly. Because the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, this is like exactly, this makes sense. This makes perfect sense for what they're trying to do. And for some reason, we haven't been doing this for like 20 years. Now, with every risky choice comes a bad practical choice that honestly makes sense for a general audience. That, of course, I'm not a fan of. One of the biggest things they did was they would take the song for the film and then they would make it poppy. So the musical itself is more contemporary based. You can hear all the different instruments, like the piano, like the piano, and the strings. There are a lot less strings involved here, and it's all like every pop. It's poppy. There's poppy beats, so the kicks are like more thuddy and cool, so it makes you feel immersed in the movie. But I don't like that it takes you out of the contemporary feel. Like there was a film that came out recently that I seriously can't remember, but it like had a pop feel to the more contemporary songs. And I feel like since that musical came out, more things have been changing to that pop formula for musical songs. And I wasn't a fan of it. Now it didn't bother me to the extent of like, wow, Defying Gravity is like a terrible song. No. It's the same song. It's just mixed differently with the instruments and everything. That being said, the sound design of this movie is pretty good, especially in the end. Like that's one of the most memorable things about the movie is the ending, which makes sense why John Chu is asking everybody to turn their theater speakers up. The choice to do part one was great. Honestly, I was skeptical of it at first because, like, really, we're doing this again. We're doing the part one, part two thing. More money. I get it. Okay, Dune did well, but no, it makes sense. They fit it. There were no cuts of any songs, so they kept in every single song, and then they continued. Like they're gonna do that with Act Two. I'm assuming is not cut a single song, and it gave room for character beats. It gave room for growth. It gave room to use the full potential of a film adaptation for musical, which I think again isn't common in movie musicals because they're trying to rush the whole story in. So I'm glad that Wicked took a turn and said, "Fuck that, we're doing it this way," because not only did this, I think, need it and deserve it, but I think it also improved upon it. It improved upon the formula. That being said, while I'm happy it's part one, I'm nervous for part two. We got all those delays, and that could still result in something bad for part two. You never know what's going on behind the scenes, truly. And I would believe it if we got lucky with part one, because part one's got all the fucking bangers, dude. Part two, I can't even tell you what happens. Maybe that's because I haven't seen it yet, and the last time I watched Wicked was 8 years ago. But still, the story itself is nothing super duper special, but it is nice to see a little bit of commentary that's definitely needed right now. Um, and I like that they didn't hold their punches on saying, yeah, this isn't kind of a metaphor for racism, you dickwads. They just fucking like they did not hold back from telling you that like it was not subtle. And I'm kind of glad it wasn't subtle because like I don't know. I feel like if it was like super subtle or anything, then people would go online being like, the woke media's done it again. And it's like, y'all, it's a movie that's just like, don't be racist, y'all. This is what it does. It's discriminatory. It's bad. It's nice that they made this for people who are fans of musicals, because as a gay little theater kid, it warmed a little tiny bit of my heart in there that's like still left and that hasn't been sucked out by like bad directors or hours upon hours of my life going towards absolutely fucking nothing in a competitive business that just wants to rip your throat out. Performances, holy fuck, the performances in this film are fantastic. Ariana Grande, she blew everyone else out of the water. Like she blew everyone out of the water in a way. in a different way. She had probably the best understanding of the character and the best grasp on who exactly Glinda is. She's come out and said that she's wanted to play this character for years. It's nice to see an actor, especially a big actor or big actress like Ariana Grande, take on a role with pride and really put their all into it and say, no, this is what I'm doing. This is how the character should be. This is what I see in the character. And she did a phenomenal job. Cynthia Erivo, holy mother of God. She did, again, a phenomenal job as well. She did not pull punches with putting her all into this. And that's kind of what I'm also seeing as a trend in this movie is that because there are so many musical fans out there that probably worked on this film, this movie became something greater than just another Hollywood project. Everyone cared about this film a lot. Like, it truly lived up to the legacy that the musical was leaving behind for itself. Fierro, the guy who played Fierro, I'm not even going to try to mention his name, did a great job. John Bailey or something like that. He did a great job. The choreography, like, do we even need to mention how good it is? It's good, believe me. It again makes other musicals look bad in comparison or pale in comparison. Ironic because the coloring is kind of pale and desaturated. So choreography, acting, and even camera work was in like a little bit was nice to, it was refreshing. Because In the Heights showed a little bit of that potential, but this one just expanded on all of it and said, we're going buck wild. Here's a 2-minute continuous shot with VFX, with moving lights, with moving people, with, some cameos in there as well, with a song, with live singing. Like they said, yeah, we're going to do all that. That was absolutely incredible to see on screen because you could tell that, God, there was just so much work put into this. And the same can be said for just about every number. Like, every number comes in hitting hard and it doesn't pull back. In a way, if you like watch the film and you're a musical fan, like, this adaptation just makes sense. Like, everything that they choose to do. And I can't even think of specifics right now because it's been like 2 weeks and I wanted to talk about this, but I've been fucking busy. But like every like little thing that they changed, or like I wouldn't even say changed, but that they added to the film to make for beats and like again changes to the musical that aren't actually there, was a smart choice that makes it better as a film and not necessarily a musical. Now, if you're not a fan of musicals, I wouldn't recommend this movie. Unless you like, I mean, if you like film and like seeing like different stuff, I guess, or like if you're curious, just go check it out. Even if you don't like it, you can know for next time. But you might find something interesting there that you like. Because this film has so much. There's so much. There's so much detail. There's attention and care. And as much as we shit on John Chu as a director, I never would have thought as a person to like take the camera here, then tilt it all the way back, turn it upside down, film a different angle, then tilt and turn it back, and then like have a dance number shot that way. Like, that's it's very interesting to me. And I think truly you have to have a good director who understands beats and characters and just generally the love for musicals, because I feel like you can't take this movie wouldn't be good if you didn't have a director who cared a ton about musicals. And it shows that John Chu really does. And again, I just think it's fantastic. So I'm giving this a solid. Now I have to see part 2, because if part 2 isn't good and this one is, then already this is getting like lower points. So I'm gonna keep it at a safe 8.5 out of 10, because part 2 could seriously ruin it. But if it doesn't, I'll move it up to a 9. So 8.5 out of 10. I'm a little too scared to go at a 9, because it's not the perfect movie, but it's a really good film adaptation, and you should watch it if you like musicals. Okay, that's all for now. Bye.